Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Builtprado. My name is Matt and today we're going to do a video of why I didn't buy a Hyundai Terracan, because I was this close to getting one but I didn't get one in the end and I'm getting a Prado. And I think people would be surprised how similar this and the Hyundai spec up, but obviously I went for a Toyota in the end. Can't go wrong with Toyota. But yeah, so I thought we'd just sit down, run through some statistics, and I think you guys will be surprised how many people actually also buy a Hyundai. But yeah, so let's look through some stats. Alright guys, so I thought we'd just run through some factors of why these cars are similar and why they're even compared at all. Now, oh yeah, I got the little Builtprado sticker there guys, $5, get around it. Now, alright, so pretty much, if you look at the Hyundai and the Prado, obviously they look, well not similar, but they're both pretty much a wagon, and they're both 7 to 8 seats. Obviously the Prado's 8 seats, 3 in the rear. So if we're going to compare them side by side, Prado's already winning, right? Now, obviously the Prado came with 3 motors, 2.7 litre petrol, 3.4 litre petrol, and the 3 litre diesel, okay? Now, the Hyundai actually came with 4 motors, and those 4 motors are a bit more random and all over the place in terms of engines, but we've got a 2.4 litre gasoline, 3.5 litre V6, so that's very similar to this one behind me, 3.4 litre V6. Then we got a 2.5 litre turbo diesel, and then a 2.9 litre diesel. Now, and they've also got 5-speed manual, 4-speed automatic, which is pretty much the same as these, I'm pretty sure. So, because mine's a 4-speed automatic. Now, so as you can see, these are very similar figures. They're stacking up pretty nicely here. Now, the interesting thing is they've got a turbo diesel engine, diesel 2.5 litre. I don't know, is that a bit small? I don't know. But they also have the same petrol, 2.4 litre petrol with the 2.7 in the Prado. So now obviously they're both 5 doors and they're both considered a mid-size SUV, okay? So you're probably thinking, yeah, but I'd rather have Toyota. Well, that's when price comes into play. Okay guys, 3 years ago, because I've had my car for 3 years now, I obviously bought this car, but I was looking in the market for a full drive SUV. Now, the Hyundai was almost an option, and a guy at work actually said, oh, why don't you get the Hyundai? But I already had a gut reaction to why I didn't want to get it, and it's not just the badge, it's actually because the aftermarket support for like mods, upgrades and forms and stuff. There's still heaps of forms on the internet with Hyundais. I had a big look this morning and there's quite a few videos in them off full driving, so people get around and like there's people there, but obviously it's nowhere near the magnitude and size of Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. So and obviously it speaks for itself in the fact that Hyundai, they don't even make this car anymore. I'm pretty sure production was from, well, at least in South Korea, 2001 to 2007, and then China, 2004 to 2011. So they don't really make them anymore. They might bring them back, they said, but they haven't made any recently. And obviously Prado's been there the whole time, and it's still going on today, and it's outsold Mitsubishi Pajero. So, and they're the ones that made the first wagon, and then Toyota just made it but better, and then here we are. So, but yeah, as I was saying, this car, I've said it before, but this car was $5.5 grand for sale on Facebook Market back in the day, and a good Prado, like a clean version, was like 7.5, right? Now Hyundai's back then, for a diesel, you know, diesel's better off-road, better towing, whatever. A diesel one back then was around the same price, about 5.5 grand. You're looking at like 200,000 Ks, you know, like automatic, diesel, Hyundai. Like that sounds pretty good, right? Maybe if you're towing caravan, you might get one as well. But pretty much, I always knew I wanted Toyota, and I was happy to have a petrol and not a diesel Toyota, but at least have a Toyota Prado. And obviously there's groups on Facebook that have, you know, forum pages, and they'll get around and help each other out. I was in a Prado group one that has like 13,000 people in it, and I was in that one for so long, and everyone was just always helping each other out. It was really nice, and obviously it's Toyota. My dad has a Toyota Land Cruiser 100 series. I already knew like the Toyota longevity of it and the history of it, and you know, the pedigree of it, sort of thing, the full driveness. Whereas Hyundai hasn't really had, you know, they haven't had, you know, troopies or any sort of like heaps of, you know, pedigree prior to this one here, the Terracan. I'll try and put photos up as we go, but that's just another reason why I went for the Prado in the end. This look guys straight away. Prado 1984 to present is the production years, and then Hyundai 2001 2007. Like that sort of speaks for itself a bit, I think. Obviously it's a bit unfair comparison because Toyota's a massive company, but you know, made in Japan, good to go with the best, right? A lot of the old Prados actually look like the 76 Land Cruiser today, from like behind, like the 3/4 behind. It's only the front that doesn't, but from behind it just looks like a 76 Land Cruiser, which is cool. But yeah, obviously Prado 90 series actually has heaps of engines now that I'm looking at it now. Okay guys, I'm just looking at the engines here. Apparently there's a few more engines I wasn't aware of, but apparently, so 2.7 litre petrol, everyone knows that, a 2.8 litre diesel, and then 3 litre diesel, 3 litre diesel, 3 litre diesel. There's like 3 different variations of them. And then this one, 5EZFE, 3.4 litre V6 petrol. Now, I didn't realise that means there's 6 engines. I thought there was only really 3, but maybe there are other overseas models. You guys probably know that down below. Now, obviously, looking in the car itself, like we said before, 8-seater, 7-seater. If you're trying to carry people, maybe that's a consideration. And then obviously Pedigree behind this one as well. So, and obviously the motor, these motors I think will be better and will last longer than a Hyundai would. Sorry if you have one at home, but I'm just saying, I think the Japan parts are pretty cheap and they're everywhere, you know what I mean? And like I said before, the aftermarket mods, I've got a little list here now. This is actually for a Ranger, but what I'm trying to show you guys is that there's heaps of mods for Prado 90 series, like heaps and heaps. If you type Hyundai and you type, you know, I want, you know, big flares on it or something, they, you know, they might not even make them. Whereas Toyota, there'll be 4 manufacturers that make different types of designs. So these are just things you got to look at, and obviously, you know, got to go with the best, right? Now we've discussed that the Prado engine would go the distance, and it's not like I'm making that up. You've seen the forums, you've seen the facts. People are posting daily, oh, I've hit 500,000 Ks, still going strong. Granted, they're stock, they have no lift or tyres and not going off-road, but it shows they go the distance. Some of them do though. But I just thought we compare the 2.5 litre petrol Hyundai to this 3.4 litre petrol, pretty similar comparison. But what we still haven't, I hope people haven't realised this yet, but this car is so much older than the Hyundai. So the fact that we're even comparing them is just crazy, because like, for example, this one, the first of its era, 1996. This Hyundai we're comparing it to could be 2007. Like, this isn't even fair for Toyota. If we got the new Prado against that, I'm assuming it would smash it again. Like, so this is just crazy that we can even compare this. This is like how everyone has, they always compare like an 80 series Land Cruiser decked out to like a Series 4 Patrol. They're like 15 years apart. The 80 series is older than this car. So I just think it's interesting how old Toyotas still, you know, can have a good run with the new cars. Now, power output, torque output. Now the Hyundai, for kilowatts of the engine, we're looking at 162 kilowatts. So, you know, pretty good. That's actually more than this one. This Prado here, petrol, is 136 kilowatts. So, you know, it is about 30 kilowatts more. I'm not sure if you'd really notice that, but that's just something to consider that's there. And then obviously the torque, right? Now the torque in this Prado apparently is 298 Newton meters, right? Which is okay, but you know, you've got your Holden Colorados that have like 500 Newton meters of torque, and then you've got your 200 series Land Cruisers that are like 700 Newton meters of torque. So obviously it's, you know, diesel's better, but pretty much, so what we're trying to do is get and understand how close they are. So the Hyundai torque output on here is 340 Newton meters. So you've literally got like 20 Newton meters of torque in it. So to be fair though, the Hyundai is 0.1 litre bigger of an engine, but they're very close in specs in terms of figures they're putting out. But obviously the longevity of the motor, I think we'll know where that's going to go to. Alright, now both vehicles obviously IFS at the front, so you've got your 2 ZVs there, which means putting 35s on it like me is a bit of an interesting task, and you don't want to break the CVs off-road. Now, Hyundai, obviously IFS as well, both have a rear diff. Now, Prado obviously has center locking diff. Okay, into my extensive research, one of you guys probably has a Hyundai watching this video and you'll probably just roast me with everything I've said is wrong. But this is 98% right. But the Hyundai doesn't have a center locking diff like the Prado, which is not surprising. Now, that's what it is. Alright, rims. from factory, what do you get? Alright, Hyundai, you're looking at alloy rims that have sort of like the 3 triangle design. It looks like, it's hard to explain, put a photo up, but it actually kind of looks like the Prado 90 Grande edition wheels, which are like sort of alloy, and they're kind of like a curved triangle looking thing. Now, they're great or whatever, but this car came with, from factory, steelies, which is good for off-road, as we know, pretty traditional. Obviously they were the silver, it wasn't like black, it was sort of like a silver steelies, but you know, the head was in the right mind space, right? But obviously, like we said before, the cars are, you know, 10 years apart. Obviously, all these new cars come with alloy rims today. They have to. That looks better. All that. Well, alloy technology's come a long way as well. They don't crack as much anymore. So that's just another thing. If you want to just get it and go off road, you might be better off with your steely wheels than the alloy. Now, another thing. The rear of the interior of these cars is very identical. You've sort of got your. Well, it depends what your Prado you have, but with mine, just 2 seats that go on the side and they sort of drop down. Same with the Hyundai. But obviously, you get 8 seats in this. Granted, that middle back seat isn't amazing. Like, you're sitting obviously over 2 halves and it's not the best. And then the Hyundai's only got 2, but very similar in terms of that. But the Hyundai has a rear door that just goes, like if we're here, just goes straight up like that. So almost like a van sort of style. And obviously if it's raining, you can pull that up and that will be all good. And then obviously the Prado here is the giant swing open door, so you can walk in like this, have your little table. So yeah, that's just another thing to think about if you're, you know, want a certain type of door for your camping or lifestyle. So that's what this one's like. Alright, I'm moving on to interior. Now, I'm not sure if you guys have seen the interior of the Hyundai, but it's interesting. So, if you look at any photo, I'll throw one up on the screen so you have to watch me talk. But if you look carefully, you can sort of see that it's a very grey. Obviously, it depends what spec you get, but I'm trying to look at a middle spec here just so it's relevant to everyone else. It's very sort of grey. You do have your SRS airbag on the steering wheel, which is good. Like mine doesn't even have that. But also like very grey, very bland looking, and obviously, I don't know, like the knobs and stuff and the little aircon buttons, they just look quite basic. It looks basic, I'm sad to say. I don't know. If you look at sort of like the luxury versions, I'll throw one up on screen now. You see you got that fake wood grain, and you know that obviously was a trend back then. Now it looks ugly and people get rid of it. But I hope you guys can sort of agree with me in the looks aren't quite there. But you know, if you put up a photo of Prado 90 series interior, you know, they're not great either, kind of. I like it, maybe I'm biased, I like it, but I like how many handles it's got. It's got like, if you're in the passenger like rear seat, you've got like 1, 2, you got like 3 handles to grab. And then if you're in the front driver's seat on the left, the passenger, you've got that massive, in my year, you've got a massive bar. It's like a roller coaster handle, you can hold on to that. There's like 4 handles there. Like, well, how many handles do you need? And obviously, you know, they've still got today in the 200 series, they've got 5 handles in there. So, you know, that's quite funny. But yeah, that's just another thing. You know, interior, if that's your sort of style, you know, you want a bit more cool style. But I will say though, the Prado 90 series glove box, center console lids are known for cracking. Everyone knows this, you guys will know this. But, you know, you could almost say Prado 90 series isn't built as well with the interior in terms of quality. But that's what it is, you know. Now, I just want to have a quick skim over the flares of these cars. Now, I'll put some of my photos up, but everyone knows what the Prado looks like. I think they look quite nice, quite seamless. The Hyundai's quite, I don't know, aggressive. If you look how they've put it around the fuel cap, there's quite aggressive zigzag. I don't know, it is what it is, doesn't really matter too much. But I do like the Prado 90s, how they have like the rear lights down here, as well as the back door, but the Hyundai's just got plastic reflectors and then the lights itself, and so I don't know. And obviously I like the Prado how it's got the wheel on the back. Like, you know how people pay big money to have a rear wheel carrier because they want to have the tyre in the back, accessible and whatever. We get that from factory. Granted, all the weight's on the door, but we get it from factory. We don't have it down there where it would hit off road. So, you know, I think that's cool. Now, another thing, this is just a minor detail, but obviously it's a diesel, these Hyundais, and you know, they've got their little intercooler on top of the engine, like the Holland Jackaroos and Toyota Hiluxes and all that. So they've got a little bonnet scoop up there. Now, I'll have to chuck a photo on screen again, but not sure if you've seen a photo of the bonnet scoop, but it's, I don't think it looks great. It's sort of like 2 holes and a big fin in the middle, and you know, some of the grills in these cars look quite funny, but you know, they put a bonnet script there and it looks ugly, so yeah, that's just what it is, isn't it? But very similar design. I'll put some photos up on screen now of like the same color Hyundai and Prado and the same color flares. From far away, like very similar. They both got the lower half is grey or whatever, and then the top half is, you know, that sort of beige gold color. But very similar cars. But obviously one's got pedigree, one doesn't. Granted, the Hyundai Terracan, from what I've heard, is not too bad of a car. One of my mates just bought one, but I just wanted to have a Toyota just because I wanted that, you know, it's a Toyota. I wanted to say that cheap parts, affordability, cost a little bit more, but you'll save money in the long run. It will go the distance. I mean, the fact that this car still here is amazing. You know, it's almost 25 years old and I've still got it. And you know, this is actually a young compared to some other Toyotas out there. You know, these 1980s, like, you know, FJs and all those sort of cars, like they're just going forever. So I don't need a, you know, that's just facts. Like, if you know a Hyundai that's done 1,000,000 kilometers, let me know. Put it down in the comment section down below, because I bet you can't find one. But I can find you a Prado 90 that's done 1,000,000. Alright guys, well this was a little bit of an in-depth review. I think this video is like 20 minutes long, but I hope you enjoyed it and I hope I went over some things there. Just maybe you saw this video because you're considering to get a Hyundai or Prado and you're like, Hyundai's a bit cheaper, but my advice, I guess, is stick with the Toyota. I'm also a bit biased, but I think Toyota Prado will go the distance, like I said, and I got facts to prove that. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Any questions, leave them down below and I'll try and answer them all. And you Hyundai guys, if I said anything wrong or whatever, feel free to let me know down below and we'll get that sorted. But yeah, hopefully this video can just be helpful advice, and then you can figure out which direction you want to go for your first, you know, SUV four-wheel drive. So till next time, guys, I'm Builtprado, and we'll catch you guys next time on the next episode. Cheers.